A big thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. You know this place, or at least you think you do. It's a strange feeling returning to an area you've already explored in the previous entry of a franchise. Sometimes it's been literal years since you last stepped foot here. When a sequel revisits an old location, it's an invitation to see the past through a new lens. If implemented poorly, it can feel like a lazy way to stretch out playtime. But when done right, it often becomes the most memorable part of the game for me. And so you step forward again, the same path before you, but with a different perspective. You're not sure what's ahead, but there's something thrilling about the uncertainty. What's new? What's changed? And what has remained the same? Welcome back. Time and space are convoluted in the Dark Souls universe. By the time we reach Dark Souls 3, near the end of the Age of Fire, entire lands are warping and converging upon one another. This blending of past and present is felt throughout the world, but nowhere is it more apparent than when you reach the top of the elevator in the city of Irithyll. The distinctive stairs, the immense scale, the perfect symmetry. There's no doubt in the player's mind that this is Anor Londo's Grand Cathedral. But it's not the sun-bathed version we first encounter in Dark Souls 1. Instead, it's the real Anor Londo, the one revealed after breaking Gwendolyn's spell. However, this version has decayed even further over time. And even though thousands of years have likely passed, I couldn't help but wonder if the giant blacksmith is still there, as he's one of the most useful and friendly characters in the whole series.
We talk, you good friend, I very happy.
But as we turn the corner, we find the body of the gentle giant. For those who never played the first game, it's just an item pickup, but for veterans of the series, it's a powerful moment. It made me want to track down the one likely responsible for his death. And just moments later, I got the chance to do exactly that. Where once stood the iconic duo of Ornstein and Smough, there now sits a God Eater, wielding Gwendolyn's body as a puppet. Dark Souls 3 is a game about a dying world, and to witness the once great Anor Londo and its final living god decay before my eyes perfectly embodies the overarching theme the game explores. Nothing is immune to the passage of time, not even the gods themselves. What I love about FromSoft is that all of this could easily go over a player's head, yet the game is still just as enjoyable. It remains a fantastic area to explore, even without the context, making it one of my favorite examples of how to do a return the right way. Ending a game series is no easy task. We've seen plenty of franchises struggle with it, but every now and then one gets it just right. Now, the game I'm about to talk about didn't officially mark the end of its series, but it did provide a perfect conclusion to the stories of two of my all-time favorite characters. Altair Ibn-La'Ahad and Ezio Auditore. My journey with Assassin's Creed started right at the beginning, with the very first game. I still remember my 11-year-old self counting down the days until release. And when I finally got to play it, it was everything I had hoped for. That game introduced me to Altair, an assassin shrouded in mystery, whose journey from arrogance to wisdom is massively underappreciated. A few years later, Assassin's Creed 2 introduced me to Ezio, a character I immediately connected with. I watched him grow from a reckless young man into a wise leader throughout AC2 and Brotherhood. And then, years after my first journey with Altair, I reached the conclusion of Assassin's Creed Revelations, a game that wove their stories together in a way that felt nothing short of perfect. The stage for this final revelation was Masyaf Castle, home of Altair.
Today, I have more questions than answers. This is why I've come so far, to find clarity. To find the wisdom left behind by the great Altair, so that I may better understand the purpose of our fight, and my place in it.
And so, I guided Ezio through the same gate I had wandered through countless times back in 2007, to open a secret library built nearly 300 years earlier by the protagonist of the first game. And this is what I found.
No books. no wisdom. Just you, fratello mio.
It's a quiet, intimate scene of recognition. There's an undeniable connection between these two, even though they are centuries apart.
Requiescat in pace, Altair.
For me, someone who grew up alongside these characters, this moment couldn't be more flawless, especially since it all takes place beneath the very place that started it all, Masyaf Castle. The final moments of Revelations felt so fitting here, beneath the very ground where Altair once walked. In many ways, this castle represents the heart of the Assassin's Creed series. And it's moments like this, walking through Masyaf Castle, that remind me just how special it all was. Before we continue, I want to take a moment to talk about War Thunder. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, available for free on PC, consoles and mobile devices. Immerse yourself in intense battles featuring incredibly detailed vehicles, realistic graphics and authentic sound effects that put you at the helm of the most powerful war machines in history. Take command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters and ships from 10 major nations, spanning from the biplanes and armored cars of the 1920s to the fighter jets and main battle tanks of today. Powered by the in-house Daegor engine, War Thunder is optimized to deliver stunning visuals, smooth performance and high frame rates, even on lower-end machines. I personally love the damage X-ray view. It's a fantastic way to see the exact effects of your shells in action. Plus, with the all-new mobile version on iOS and Android, you can take the battlefield anywhere. This version features intuitive controls, impressive graphics and the familiar massive multiplayer warfare in dynamic ground, sea and air battles. Join a worldwide community of over 70 million players and engage in epic PvP battles today. With an unmatched wealth of high quality content to discover, there's simply no game better suited for fans of military history. Play War Thunder now for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox or mobile devices. Use my links in the pinned comment or video description to sign up. New players and those who haven't played in 6 months will receive a massive bonus pack on PC and consoles only. This includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive Eagle of Valor vehicle decorator, 100,000 Silver Lions and 7 days of premium account. But hurry, this offer is available for a limited time only, so don't miss out. Now, let's switch gears and talk horror, specifically Dead Space 2. If you've seen my previous video on subverting expectations, you know how much I love the Dead Space series for that. Many of you mentioned the return to the Ishimura as your favorite example, and I couldn't agree more. In fact, I was saving it for this video. The Ishimura is an iconic horror location, right up there with the Spencer Mansion from Resident Evil and the town of Silent Hill. Players who experienced the first Dead Space likely know its hallways by heart, which makes its return in Dead Space 2 the perfect way to mess with their minds. And long before you even set foot inside the ship, the game subtly foreshadows this return, giving more perceptive players something to think about. If you look outside this window in Chapter 5, you can spot the 2 towers and 6 ribcage-like extensions of the Ishimura, 5 chapters before the actual return. Then, in Chapter 7, during the solar panel puzzle, the ship is fully visible in the distance. How sick is that? But for most players, myself included, the big reveal comes in Chapter 9.
Oh my god. It can't be. That's the Ishimura.
Yeah. Used to be the pride of the CEC. It's a sad story, actually. I heard everybody on board died. Some sort of terrorist attack.
What? Terrorist attack? What happened aboard that ship was no terrorist attack.
What do you mean?
That's where all this started, Ellie. Everything that's happening here happened on that ship. I saw it. I was on board when it happened. What's happening?
I don't know. Something must be blocking the track.
Stay here. I'll take a look.
Soon enough, we're left with no choice but to step back inside the Ishimura, now eerily cleaned up and covered in warning tape. Because of everything you've seen in the first game, you expect the ship to be crawling with necromorphs, and that expectation puts you on high alert. What follows is a 10-minute section of nerve-wracking tension. And with every step, unease grows. We brace for an inevitable attack, but all we get is silence, broken only by the mocking voice of Isaac's dead girlfriend and chilling audio lows.
Pretend not to be bothered, but being here rattles you, doesn't it, Isaac? All this plastic and tape covering the scars.
The horror isn't in what happens, but in the unbearable waiting. And when the necromorphs finally strike, it's almost a relief. Almost. It becomes a frantic fight for survival. Those 10 minutes of calm before the storm are up there for me as far as horror levels go. After the fight in the tunnel, we explore some more iconic locations of the ship, and as Isaac's mental state continues to deteriorate, we get some great callbacks to terrifying moments from the first game. Both we and Isaac, as an extension of that, share memories of this place. That's why these fake-out jump scares feel earned rather than cheap. Without the narrative weight behind them, they easily could have. Horror games are perfect candidates for this kind of callback. And if EA can finally get their shit together and give us a Dead Space 2 remake, I cannot wait to walk the cold halls of the Ishimura once more. Since we're on the topic of horror games, there's one I played recently that handles a revisit in a way that feels distinct to its series: Silent Hill 3. The first half of the game takes place elsewhere, but eventually we're brought back to the titular town itself. And for the most part, it's just as we remember. Pete's Bowl-O-Rama, Heaven's Night, Brookhaven Hospital, they're all still there. It's the hospital that we get to explore a second time. In Silent Hill 2, I always felt this section dragged a little. Not this time though. In Silent Hill 3, it's absolutely insane in the best way possible. What makes this return feel so true to the franchise is how the town manifests the fears of those who find themselves there. And Cheryl's Otherworld version of the hospital, absolute nightmare fuel. I love this part so much. The layout is exactly the same, yet the feeling is completely different. The whole area is so oppressive, tailor-made for Cheryl, just like it was for James in the previous game. Silent Hill 3 was developed in just 9 months, so reusing the hospital was likely a necessity due to time and budget constraints. But Team Silent took what could have been a limitation and turned it into, in my opinion, the best part of the game, by leaning into the series' greatest strengths. I loved Red Dead Redemption back in the day, so when Red Dead Redemption 2 was announced as a prequel, I was a little disappointed that we wouldn't be playing as John Marston. But after spending time with Arthur Morgan, I grew to love him as a character. Then, just when I thought the game was over, I was surprised with a full 5-hour epilogue, where we step into John's boots, bringing us back to New Austin, the setting of much of the first game. I've seen some criticism about this area feeling empty and lifeless, and from a pure gameplay perspective, that's fair. But from a storytelling standpoint, the epilogue does an incredible job of bridging the gap between the two titles. Watching John try to leave his old life behind and start fresh in a place I know like the back of my hand was both nostalgic and bittersweet, especially since we already know how this story ends. It gave me a few more precious hours with characters I love, and for me, that alone made it more than worth it. If the relative emptiness of the area didn't sit right with you, I highly recommend checking out Jacob Geller's video essay, Artificial Loneliness. It offers a fascinating perspective that might just change the way you see things. And those were some of my favorite sequels that let you revisit areas from a previous game. There are a few others I love that didn't quite fit the vibe of this video, like returning to the Kanto region in Pokemon Gen 2 or the Valley of Mines in Gothic 2. That aside, what are some of your favorites? I'd love to chat with you in the comments down below. Shout out to War Thunder again for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to check out War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox or on mobile, and use my links in the pinned comment or video description to sign up. Those of you who are new or haven't played for 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack across PC and console, including multiple premium vehicles, in-game currency and more. Hey, thanks for watching my video all the way through. If you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. A massive shout out to my Patreons for their ongoing support. If you'd like to join them, you can find the link in the description. And that's the video. See you in the next one. Peace!